Good day, all you devils. How we doing here on a Friday? What do we got? August 17th. We're late morning here. And of course, as it's Friday, we'll take a look at Bitcoin. Now, not a lot of price movement from the last video that we did. So we'll say just give a little update here. So we're still operating on the larger degree here. This is my primary account. I'm still working with the idea that we have we've got in green here a WXN, and we're in the process of putting this ABCDE in that would potentially puts us down here for a Y, right? So we've got here is the dominant algo pull here, this double top into the 50 here with the target down here at what do we get, 30, call it 3,300. But we do also, just to open this up here, bring it up here, we also have this other very perfect here, right from the swing low, or pardon me, from that high to that low here. We went right to the 65, and now we have this target down here at, what is our pivot there, 40, call it 4,700. So still working on the assumption that we may well have one more push down here to finish this, be in line with this lower triangle. Potentially, we get a little overthrow that would take us to the target. That would not be unreasonable. So it's kind of a hurry up and wait. Now, no question, this has been a very difficult correction to try and get a good count on. So as we go down to the smaller time frame, hasn't been much change here. So if let's see if I scrunch this back up here. So we just quickly to review here. This is our ABC up here. This was that 65 that we hit as we've gone down here. So again, very difficult count. I'm sure it could be counted multiple ways, but as I'm looking at it here, I've got it as an A, B, and then coming down, I've got us in the 1, 2, 3 here. We've gone into an expanded flat here. Now, I will note here the only change that I've made to this chart here as I zoom in here. My Elliott Wave purists were quick to correct me here that I had this as a 535, but it should be as a 335. So I've made that adjustment. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Right, I don't get away with anything on this channel. So there it is. Right, I don't know that it ultimately matters here too much here, but so I've relabeled this as an ABC into our A wave here. Right, so then here's the difficult part of this, and this is going to get more difficult if we start to push beyond this pivot here. This is going to get really difficult. I'm trying to anticipate if that were to happen, how we're going to end up counting this. It's going to get very tricky, and my guess is we don't have enough information that's been revealed here to get a good count on it. But as it sits right now, as long as this double top that we put in here holds, I'm leaning into this count here. So again, here's the 3. We've gone into an ABC into the A, ABC down for the expanded flat here, the expanded B wave, and then this very clear 5 wave sequence takes us up into what I'm proposing is our 4 here to give us in yellow the A, B up for the C, which would imply that, note we're looking for that Z target down here, that if we're going to go down, well, we've got to get some sort of a 5-wave structure in place. So right now, we do have let me take it. I think I went all the way down to the 5-minute to get this to show it to you. So from this, here's our candidate for a 1-wave here. So down all the way down to the 5-minute, you can see I do have a very clear 5-wave impulsive move down that sets me up for a potential 1. Right, so from this C wave here, this double top, can I bring that down here? This 4 wave here that I'm proposing is our 4. We get a clean 5, then we get an A, B, C. Now we've got that's a fairly, look at the length of time of the 1 relative to the 2. The symmetry is a bit off there, so I'm not loving that. But again, we are on a 5-minute chart here. It's difficult to count it any other way. So just pulling from this pivot to our swing low here, we can see, if I get it right on there, well, we've had a little poke through the 786. I guess it's deep. It's not radical for it to go that far, right? So this is always a push to try and get to break that pivot to get to a higher high here. So far, we've not done it here, although this is. So they're certainly making an effort here as we've pushed beyond the 65. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. If we go up here and we take out this pivot, well, that invalidates this count because we can't have a 1, 2, can't have a 2 take out the pivot. So it's going to make it for a very interesting challenge for Elliottians here to come up with a count on this that works. So, we can't, you can't force something. So again, as I'll often tell you, if you're not sure, no reason to be, assuming you were not in Bitcoin at the moment, no reason to pursue a trade until you get more clarity. Is often when you have a count that you can't get a good handle on, you don't have enough information. The market has not revealed itself enough yet for us to be able to organize it, qualify it, apply our rule set, our guidelines, and find some way to try and organize the chaos, which is always what we're trying to do with Elliott Wave. It's never about being absolute about anything. Wave counts are changing constantly. If I post a video up here and I have a count on it, that doesn't mean that that's the count. That may be the current count, but all it would take, here, a slight pivot up here and this count is invalidated. And then we've got to rethink the whole thing. So it's always, I just want to emphasize this, it's always just a potential roadmap. That's all it ever is. It's not, oh, I know what's happening in Bitcoin. I know exactly where we're going next. I often have people comment or tell me such things. It's just a silly way to approach the market. Nobody knows. I don't know. You don't know. Don't post under this video that you know what is. You don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. What's the point here? We're trying to organize it to create probability zones. That's all we ever get. It's just probabilities. And the expectation always should be forefront of your mind. Expect that you're going to be wrong more than you're right. That's just the nature of the beast. There's no way around that. I've been 20 plus, almost 25 years now. I've been doing this. Never once met a trader, and I've met a lot of them, that's right more than they're wrong. Just, if you know one, right, who can sustain that record over time, maybe for a short period of time, you can sustain it. But if you look over the course of a trader's career, and the good news is you don't need to be right more than you're wrong. But what you do need to have is very disciplined money management. That's ultimately always the key, right? It's adapting the wave count, changing the count, adapting to what the market's doing. Right? We're always trying to find that probability advantage, at least where we can recognize, oh, okay, I'm making a business decision here. I can identify where I'm wrong. That's another value add to Elliott Wave, is that we have areas where we invalidate whatever our thinking may be. Thus, this pivot here, if this goes up here, can't be a 2 anymore, right? So we have to rethink it. Where's the next probability zone? So right now, as we sit here with this double top still holding, as long as that does hold, I don't see any reason not to count this as a 1-2. It's in sync with the longer term view, as well as down here on here I'm on a 5 minute. So still can't ignore a 5, can't ignore this 5, can't ignore this 5. Right now I've got a 3-wave structure that looks corrective to this 5. Granted, it's taking longer than you would like to see it. Ideally, this would have been your correction, right? And we'd have started here, but we're getting more complexity. So maybe we're just setting up for some sort of alternation between between the 2 and the 4. We don't know. Don't know. I do not know what's happening next, but I can tell you that if this holds, the odds are favorable to this heading down here and us finishing like this. That's more likely the outcome. All right, so with all of that in play, right? So if indeed, so there's a bit of a hurry up and wait. Now we're going into the weekend, right, where we know there can often be volatility, as is often the case in crypto. We'll see volatility over the weekend. So this is going to be very interesting to watch. If this weakens, am I getting any help from the oscillators? Not really. Not a lot here. Not much help we can get here. I don't even have volume on this. Let's get my volume profile on here, so bear with me while we add that. I don't know why I didn't have that on there. Okay, so we can see here's the bulk of the trading, right? So you can just, fairly easy to identify this. So so we just look here, here's our 1 standard deviation. Here's where all the volume trading is, and you can just look how that correlates to where the market's been moving. Kind of stuck in a range here. So if we were to break out of that, right, we're going to have to rethink the count. Right now, this looks corrective. Looks to me like the next move is lower. So if you were inclined to be a short seller here, Well, it's not an unreasonable place to be selling. We know very clearly where we're out, right? No question about this. One tick beyond this pivot here, this count is invalidated. So you cannot hold that, right? So we can be very clear about it. So let's pull this over. So I have this already down here at the 1618. So just to show you what I did here. So taking this, if this is my 1 and if this is my 2. Right, so down here, here's my 1618 where I have the wave 3 potentially setting up here. So what have I had? I got a 5.17 to 1 swing trade in play. You can sell it right now. Right, we're very clear where are we out, very clear where we're in, what our target is. You know, nothing wrong with that trade, right? If you're comfortable going short, there it is. Just wait. You should be entering right now. Right now, I don't sell Bitcoin. I just don't. Partly because I'm so long Bitcoin because I just own so much Bitcoin. I don't short it. I look for the next opportunity to be a buyer. And as far as I'm concerned, it's not here yet. Right? So I certainly would not be a buyer here. That's me. I do not buy things that are going up. Right? But as a seller, if you're flat or in a position to put on a new trade, that's a very reasonable short trade right there in Bitcoin that you could look at right there. You can work off this 5-minute chart, although I prefer the 15. But that's something that you can look at, right? Clear exit, clear target. You know, again, why would you not take that trade? Again, unless you're not in a position to be short or not comfortable going short or don't want to pay the financing, whatever. Again, each trader makes his own decision there. But I'm telling you, technically, that's a very valid trade. Right? So good. Okay. So with that's about as much as we have here. So this will be the tell. So if there's anything radically happening, we might have an update over the weekend, but my guess is we're going to wait and see and then look to either confirm this count or go through the process of trying to dig out a new count if this pivot is broken, right? Which is not going to be easy because this is a difficult bottoming process down here. Certainly for an Elliottician, this is going to be a real challenge. So kind of interesting to see what's going to happen. So we will check back on this most likely back here on Monday. So until then, just a reminder, give us a visit over on Twitter. Now we're getting a lot of questions about the belt system that we've introduced, which is really just a way of organizing all of the educational content that we have within our membership and then putting structure to it and then creating a series of tests and progressions as you rank up through your belt system. So we're just borrowing from the martial arts format there. So it's been very well received by the members. In fact, as I sit here looking here now, just glancing over at our members here, looks like we have 34 white belts. That's those that have passed the white belt testing, and we have 19 blue belts and several that are already underway to start testing for their purple belt. So it's an interesting way to approach the content. We have found that the members are really responding to it because of that organized sense of progression. So that's something to check out. You can learn a little bit more about that over on Twitter, and we'll be posting some updates on it on the website, hopefully in the very near term. It's still kind of been beta for us as we figured it out and tweaked it. But it's running smoothly now, and I think based on the feedback that we're getting, this is something that we will really feature. All right, so with that, if you want to learn more about what we're doing, or you can always write to us, of course. You can learn more at our website. That's tradedevils.com. You can find us over on Twitter. Of course, our handle there is Trade Devils. All right, guys, back to you later. I've got one more today.